The mysterious disappearance of the Johnson family. A haunted house and a family who dared to move in. With twists and turns at every corner, this is one ghostly encounter you won't want to miss. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more eerie tales from Midnight Murmurs. The Johnson family, consisting of John, his wife Jane, and their two children, were last seen on the evening of June 12th, 2005. Their car, a green sedan, was still parked in their driveway, and their front door was left wide open. There was no sign of struggle or forced entry, but the family possession and all of their personal belongings were left behind. Neighbors reported that the family had been acting strangely in the few weeks leading up to their disappearance. They had withdrawn from social activity, and John had been seen working late into the night in his home office. Jan had cancelled all of her appointments, including a hair appointment on the day of their disappearance. As the news of their disappearance spread, the local police department intended a search effort for the missing family. Police officers scoured the Johnson's family looking for any evidence that could point to the family whereabouts or the cause of their disappearance. Unfortunately, they found no clues or evidence of the foul play, leaving the police with more questions than answers. The police also interviewed the Johnsons' neighborhood, trying to gather any information that could help find the Johnsons. Some neighbors reported seeing a suspicious looking man in a black hoodie loitering in the neighborhood. On the evening of the family disappearance, others reported hearing strange noises coming from the Johnsons at the same time of the black hoodie man. However, none of these reports provide any concrete leads for the police to follow. Despite the lack of evidence, the police continued to investigate the Johnson's family disappearance, expanding their search efforts beyond the immediate area. They interviewed the family friends and intended family members, looking for any clues or leads that could shed a light on the case. The police discovered that John had been struggling with financial problems and mounting debt. They also found that John had taken out several loans and had been also in communication with some unsavory character in the weeks leading up to his disappearance. The police considered the possibility that John's financial trouble may have played a role in the family disappearance. However, these did not provide any concrete lead to the police to follow. leaving the case unsolved and the John family whereabouts unknown. Over the years, the case has been one of the most perplexing and enduring mystery in the history of the town, attracting the attention of the true crime enthusiasts and armchair detective alike. The disappearance of the John family remains a haunting mystery, leaving a community devastated and desperate for answers. Despite the passage of time, the case continued to capture the public's imagination, with many people suspecting about what really happened to the John family on that fateful evening in June 2005. As the investigation continued, the police began to explore other possibilities, including the potential involvement of a third party. They looked into the family recent activity, including their work and social life, to see if there were any potential suspects. One of the key leads came from a neighbor who reported seeing a suspicious vehicle parked outside the John home on the night they disappeared. The police tracked down the owner of the vehicle, but they had an alibi for the night in question and were quickly cleared of any involvement. The lack of the physical evidence was a major challenge for the investigation. The family's phones and computer had all been left and shown no sign of being tampered with. There were no signs of a struggle or forced entry in the home. The family's car were still in the garage, and there was no evidence of them leaving the property. As the investigation progressed, the police began to consider the possibility that the Jones family had staged their own disappearance. This theory was fueled by the discovery of several unusual online purchases made by John in the few weeks leading up to their disappearance. He had bought several survivor gear, including camping equipment and freeze-dried food, as well as a large amount of cash. The police also discovered that the Jones family had been planning a trip to Europe. They had purchased tickets and made hotel reservations, but had not told anyone about their plans. This raised a suspicion that they may have left the country without alerting authorities. The police continued to follow up on the leads and tips from the public, but none of them provided any significant breakthroughs in the case. Despite their best efforts, the investigation into the disappearance of the Jones family eventually went cold. Years passed without any new leads, and the case remained unsolved. It became a haunted mystery with no clear answers or closure for the family loved one. The case continued to captivate the public's imagination with countless theories and speculations circling in the media and online. In the recent years, there have been new efforts to solve the case. New technologies and investigative techniques have been applied to the evidence, and the case has been reopened by the police. It remains to be seen whether these efforts will lead to a breakthrough in the investigation, or whether the mystery of the Jones family disappearance will continue to baffle and intrigue the world. Theories about the disappearance of the Jones family had been the topic of discussion and speculation for many years. Despite numerous investigations and search, the case remained unsolved, leaving family and friends wondering what really happened to the Johnsons. One of the most widely discussed theories is that John staged their own disappearance. This theory had been fueled by reports of financial trouble and marital trouble with the family. Some believed that the Johnson wanted to start a new life somewhere else and decided to disappear in order to do that. Supporters of this theory point to the fact that the Johnsons left behind a significant amount of money in their bank account, which has never been accessed since their disappearance. Additionally, some note that the Johnson home appeared to have been staged to make it appear as though they had left in a hurry, with belongings and furniture left behind. However, critics agree that it is unlikely that the Johnson would have been able to disappear so completely without leaving any trace behind. Another theory is that the Johnsons were victims of a foul game. This theory is supported by the fact that the family disappearance was a sudden and unexpected, and there was no indication that they were planning to leave the town. Some have speculated that the Johnson may have been targeted by someone they knew, possibly due to the person or a financial dispute. The discovery of a strange note left behind in the Johnson home had added a fuel to this theory. The note, which was found on the kitchen counter, contained a cryptic message that read, "We are sorry. We had to do this." While the meaning of the note remains unclear, many have speculated that it may have been written by someone who had a hand in the Johnsons' disappearance. However, the lack of any concrete evidence has made it difficult for the investigators to confirm any theories about what happened to the Johnsons. Despite years of searching, no physical evidence has been found to suggest a foul play, or that the Johnsons are alive and well somewhere else. This lack of evidence has frustrated the investigators and left the family and friends of the Johnsons with no closures. One possible explanation for the lack of evidence is that the Johnsons met with a foul play, and their bodies were disposed in a way that made it difficult for the authorities to find them. And some have suggested that the family may have been buried in a remote location, or that their bodies were dumped in the water, making them almost impossible to find. Another theory is that the Johnsons have been made the victims of a random act of violence. In this scenario, the family have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, encountered someone who meant them harm. However, without any solid lead, this theory remains purely speculative. Ultimately, the lack of evidence and the challenges in solving the case have left many wonder if the truth behind the Johnson disappearance will ever be discovered. Despite the passage of time, the case continued to generate interest and speculation, and remains one of the most baffling mysteries in modern history. Thanks for joining me in this episode of Midnight Murmurs. The Johnson's family disappearance is a mystery that have stumped investigators and intrigued the public for over a decade. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and theories about what may happen to them. So be sure to leave a comment down below and let us know what do you think. And if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing stories like this one. Until next time, keep wondering and questioning, and we'll see you in the next episode of Midnight Murmurs. Have a sweet night dreams.